In this podcast episode, Louisa Nicola, a clinician and academic specializing in brain health, discusses the complexity and preventability of Alzheimer's disease. She covers the biology behind cognitive decline, the significant role of lifestyle factors, the unique risks women face, and powerful interventions including exercise, nutrition, hormone replacement therapy, and supplements like creatine. Additionally, Louisa shares practical strategies to enhance brain function, the importance of sleep, and the neuroscience underpinning willpower and resilience. Louisa explains that Alzheimer's is not simply a disease of old age, but begins its development as early as the 30s, with symptoms usually manifesting in the 60s and 70s. Contrary to previous belief that women have higher Alzheimer's rates because they live longer, research shows being female itself is a risk factor. Around 60 million people currently live with Alzheimer's, a number expected to triple by 2050, with women bearing 70% of cases. Importantly, up to 95% of Alzheimer's cases could be prevented through lifestyle changes, as it is largely driven by modifiable risk factors rather than genetics. The brain comprises 87 billion neurons, with thousands of connections each, forming a dense network essential for cognition and memory. Cognitive reserve describes the brain's ability to withstand damage and stress without showing clinical signs of decline. Individuals with high cognitive reserve, bolstered through lifelong learning, reading, handwriting, and especially exercise, may retain cognitive function despite pathological changes like amyloid beta plaques typical in Alzheimer's. Louisa highlights that regularly challenging the brain with novel activities and sustaining physical fitness increases this reserve and delays dementia onset. Resistance or strength training emerges as one of the most potent interventions for preserving brain volume and cognitive function. Louisa references landmark studies showing that lifting heavy weights, around 80% of one's one repetition max, stimulates the release of myokines, muscle-derived signaling molecules that cross the blood-brain barrier and promote neurogenesis and reduce inflammation. Strengthening the legs, especially, correlates with greater brain size and preserved cognition, as demonstrated in twin studies. The deadlift is cited as a highly effective full-body exercise benefiting both muscular and neural health. Aerobic exercise complements resistance training by improving cardiovascular fitness, delivering oxygen, and inducing brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, which supports hippocampal growth, crucial for memory. Louisa emphasizes high-intensity interval training, Zone 4-5, as more beneficial for women's brain health than moderate Zone 2 exercise. Studies like Dr. Ben Levine's demonstrate that just 4 hours per week of combined high-intensity interval training, moderate aerobic activity, and resistance training can reverse 20 years of heart aging by remodeling cardiac chambers, critical for maintaining cerebral blood flow and cognitive performance. Louisa frames sedentariness itself as a disease linked to increased Alzheimer's risk. She shares research indicating that performing 10 air squats every hour can offset the harms of prolonged sitting by improving glucose metabolism and circulation. This simple intervention counters the rise in sedentary behavior due to technology use and workplace norms, which exacerbate cardiovascular and metabolic risk factors associated with cognitive decline. A striking factor contributing to neurodegeneration in women is the decline of estrogen during perimenopause and menopause. Estrogen supports brain glucose metabolism. Its reduction causes about a 30% drop in glucose utilization, leading to an energetic crisis in brain cells. This metabolic shift partly explains common menopausal symptoms, such as brain fog and disrupted sleep. Louisa discusses the controversial yet promising role of hormone replacement therapy, HRT, which can alleviate symptoms like hot flashes and may reduce Alzheimer's risk by up to 30% through improved sleep and muscle anabolism. However, large-scale conclusive trials on HRT's preventive effect for dementia are still lacking. Nutrition plays a critical role in supporting brain health. Louisa encourages a ketogenic diet during metabolic brain crisis states because ketones serve as an effective alternative brain fuel to glucose, especially when glucose metabolism falters in menopause or Alzheimer's. Omega-3 fatty acids are essential for maintaining neuronal membrane fluidity and anti-inflammatory action. However, quality control is vital as many supplements suffer oxidation if improperly stored. Vitamin D is also highlighted for its abundant receptors in memory centers and its protective effect, with deficiency increasing dementia risk by 40%. Creatine receives special attention as a safe, well-studied supplement with multifaceted benefits for brain energy metabolism, cognitive performance, and neuroprotection. Louisa discusses recent studies administering high doses, up to 20 grams per day, in Alzheimer's patients, revealing preserved cognition, increased energy, and improved exercise capacity. Creatine can mitigate damage from sleep deprivation, brain injury, and stroke, and may exert anti-cancer effects by enhancing cellular energy and immune function. She advises choosing high-quality, NSF-certified Creapure creatine and dispels myths about kidney damage and hair loss. Sleep is identified as a crucial but often undervalued defense against cognitive decline. Deep sleep activates the glymphatic system, a brain-washing process that clears amyloid beta and other waste products. Sleep disruption, common in menopause due to hot flashes and night sweats, impairs this clearance, increasing Alzheimer's risk. Louisa provides practical advice on optimizing sleep hygiene, avoiding stimulation after 8 p.m., temperature regulation, and certain supplements like GABA, glycine, and adaptogens such as ashwagandha to reduce stress and promote restorative sleep. Cardiovascular health is intrinsically linked to brain health. Hypertension damages the tiny brain capillaries that support the blood-brain barrier, leading to its breakdown or leaky brain, which allows harmful molecules to disrupt neuronal function. The Sprinter trial established that aggressively managing systolic blood pressure to around 120 mmHg using ACE inhibitors preserves gray matter and cognitive function. Louisa stresses monitoring blood pressure regularly and using exercise and stress management as primary tools to maintain vascular integrity and brain health. Louisa explores the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, AMCC, a brain region closely tied to willpower, resilience, and longevity. The AMCC grows stronger through habitual engagement with challenging tasks and declines with sedentary or avoidance behavior. This area helps individuals adapt to stress and uncertainty, a trait prominent in superagers who maintain cognitive prowess in old age. Doing difficult physical and mental activities signals to the brain the capacity to overcome adversity, reinforcing neural networks responsible for perseverance. Beyond traditional exercise, specific cognitive motor drills, such as hand-eye coordination exercises, improve processing speed, executive function, and spatial awareness. Louisa demonstrates using a tennis ball and an eye patch to increase neural demands by limiting vision, activating the visual cortex, and engaging the cerebellum. These tasks stimulate neuroplasticity and expand cognitive reserve, and have even been employed with elite athletes to enhance reaction time. Louisa's passion stems from personal loss, her grandmother's battle with ovarian to pancreatic cancer, and the systemic neglect women face in healthcare. She articulates anger and frustration at underrepresentation and misinformation affecting women's health outcomes, including hormone replacement therapy fears and vaccine hesitancy. Her commitment is driven by the conviction that brain diseases like Alzheimer's are preventable, that women deserve truth and agency, and that empowering individuals through education and lifestyle can shift the trajectory of this global health crisis. In a reflective tone, Louisa discusses her relationship with faith alongside her scientific expertise. She acknowledges the limits of medicine in explaining miraculous recoveries and human resilience, framing belief in a higher power as a source of hope and comfort beyond empirical knowledge. This spiritual perspective coexists with her clinical work, offering a holistic lens on the profound challenges faced by patients and caregivers alike. Lastly, Louisa expresses caution about over-reliance on technology, particularly AI tools that may reduce cognitive engagement and critical thinking. She acknowledges their utility, but warns against encouraging passive consumption and fragmented attention, which undermine the brain's capacity for deep focus and neuroplastic growth. The concept of brain rot is discussed as a contemporary challenge amplified by screens and social media, contrasting with the need for hard mental and physical challenges to maintain brain health.